Okay, this is now the 5-minute tarot for the 31st of March 2017. And today's card is Judgment number 20. And it's supposed to be a card of renewal and rebirth, because what you have is you look at the picture and there's this angel, or which can represent invisible individuals or invisible power, or this particularly strong person or force that in some way got the attention of the people. So they were in coffins, so they were unmotivated, they were not really involved in life and living. But now that the angel blew the trumpet, the people are renewed, or they're motivated again to participate in life and do what has to be done. And they seem to be happy about it as well. So maybe judgment reverse would be you're back doing things, but you're not that happy about it. Again, taking the idea of the reverse card being something not quite right. So we have this angel who can represent a more powerful individual or force, who opened the coffin lid, who did something or said something that removed a barrier, or that reignited understanding and motivation and enthusiasm in people, right? So they've got a new lease on life. So the problem is, I find it's kind of hard to talk about invisible forces and angels, and angels generally, and I mentioned this a couple of days ago with the Temperance card, and said then that I don't really talk about angels much. I'm not that I don't believe in them. I don't know if I suppose I do, because lots of people do. But I find that it can be hard to talk about invisible forces anyway, because if you talk about invisible forces, you may know what you think and what you mean and what point you're trying to make, but it can be very difficult to pass on your knowledge to somebody else and be clear about it. Right, because you may know what you mean by an angel, but in order to explain to somebody else what you mean by an angel, maybe you've got to talk for half an hour and cover all the ins and outs and the ups and downs of what angels are and are not. Because you say angel, and people can have a very particular idea about what you mean by an angel. And it can be very different from what you think an angel is, or maybe what an angel actually is. So instead, if we look at the angel, or when the judgment card comes up, if we look at the angel as representing a supervisor, it could be a supervisor or a boss, only because it's easy to think that the angel blowing the horn is a stronger, more important, superior individual. But instead of thinking of an actual angel or an invisible force, we think of it as a person who has extra power, or maybe it's the head of the company, or it's your boss, depending on what your position is, right? Somebody with more power. But I think today I'd like to consider thinking about this angel, this powerful individual, as a mentor, right? We probably have all heard of mentors and mentoring. And this is because I recently watched a video interview with a fellow called Kyle Cooper. And Kyle Cooper is a designer, has been a designer for a long time. And he does introductory, like the credits and the introductions for movies, because you've got the story beginning and you've got graphic activity and motion graphics, and you've got the cast members and so on. And he's very well in motion graphic circles, is well known. And he did the introduction to Braveheart and Seven, the movie Seven, and all sorts of other movies. And he's really, really interesting and good. So he makes introductions to movies. And he mentioned at one point in the interview that he benefited a lot from instructions that he had from a fellow called Paul Rand, who was a designer and pretty much a genius designer. So Kyle said that he benefited from mentoring from Paul Rand. This is like in the 1970s, I imagine. And the thing is, Kyle said, and I put this quote on screen, a mentor can help you understand what you're good at, sometimes even more than you can understand. right? So, and the reason is it's easy to think that with a mentor, you're nothing, you're empty, and they're going to fill you with knowledge and understanding and information. But the point that Carl is making, and the point I'd like to make with the judgment card, is that when the card comes up, it's not like you haven't got anything going for you, and suddenly you've got the beginnings of a kind of understanding. Because when Kyle says the mentor can help you understand what you're good at, the point is that with the judgment card, you already are good at certain things, and it can be up to the questioner, thanks to input from the reader, that the questioner recognizes what it is that they're good at and what qualities they have already somewhat developed or already well developed, and they work on those strengths. Rather than with judgment, instead of assuming that you're all weak and you need to begin developing strength, you understand that you're already relatively strong. You recognize where you're strong and you do something with it and become stronger. So you recognize what you're good at. And this helps you, or it helps the questioner, by understanding, okay, I'm good at this and this and this, then it helps me along my path, my own path. And that's what the mentor does. He helps you along your path, or a path of your making, not making you follow his or her path. And this is a bit like, it reminds me a bit of the last point I made with the temperance video. It's important to understand what we mean by I am. So with the judgment card, you're already good. The mentor can help you understand what you're good at. But as Kyle says, sometimes because the mentor sees more of the big picture or sees more of the picture, they can know what you're good at before even you know what you're good at. And that can be the value of the temperance card coming up. Let's say for the future, or not the temperance card, judgment coming up even in the future, because you're going to know what you didn't already know. And that's going to be an advantage for you. Okay, thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.